The United States depends on about 1.1 million firefighters to protect its citizens and property from fire. Approximately 336,000 are career firefighters, 812,000 are volunteers, and 80 to 100 die in the line of duty each year. To address this occupational hazard, the NIOSH Firefighter Fatality Investigation and Prevention Program conducts independent investigations of firefighter line of duty deaths. If any of you guys have taken a firefighter safety and survival class, they've likely said to you in that class, hey, if you guys aren't reviewing these NIOSH line of duty death reports, you need to start doing it because there's really good information in there. So that's what we're going to start doing. This is a first attempt at reviewing one of these NIOSH line of duty death reports. Hopefully as we go here, we can kind of share this with the rest of the department. You guys can take turns reviewing and reporting on one of these line of duty deaths. So here's the first one that we're going to look at. On May 18th, 2017, a 31-year-old male career firefighter died after fire conditions rapidly deteriorated in a commercial strip mall fire. The firefighter was a member of Ladder 35, the first apparatus to arrive on scene. At 21:10 on May 18th, a call was received to 911 reporting a structure fire in a commercial strip mall. Dispatch assigned a first alarm complement that included engine 35, engine 26, engine 27, engine 44, ladder 35, AP 32, and battalion chief 3. All units were instructed to switch to TAC 2 upon arrival. Ladder 35 was the first apparatus on scene. The Ladder 35 captain quickly sized up the incident, observed light gray smoke showing from the vicinity of the fitness center. He advised dispatch that smoke was showing. Advised all companies en route to continue and that they would be initiating an offensive attack. Engine 26 arrived on scene and requested an assignment. Ladder 35 captain advised dispatch that he was assuming command and requested a second alarm. He directed engine 35 to pull a pre-connect line while the two Ladder 35 firefighters opened the main entrance, forced entry to the main entrance door to the fitness center. The Ladder 35 captain directed the engine 35 lieutenant to take their charged engine 3/4 pre-connect inside and directed the two Ladder 35 firefighters to conduct a right-hand search for victims. The Ladder 35 captain instructed the engine 35 hose line crew and the Ladder 35 search crew to perform a quick and shallow search into the fitness center. The engine 35 crew slowly advanced their hose line through the front door and turned to the right. This area contained racks of fitness equipment, which coupled with the thick smoke and low visibility made forward progress with their hose lines difficult. They backed out and then re-entered the front door with one firefighter stationed at the door to assist with advancing the hose. They were only able to advance inside the structure about 10 to 15 feet due to the smoke, heat, and exercise equipment restricting movement of their hose lines. Engine 35 firefighters reported that their thermal imaging screen whited out as they advanced inside. The Ladder 35 firefighters advanced past the engine 35 hose line crew and made their way towards side Charlie, where they began opening up ceiling tiles, looking for the seat of the fire. A second alarm assignment was dispatched. Included 2 battalion chiefs, 4 engines, 1 ladder, 2 APs, 2 medic units, and 1 rehab unit. The Ladder 35 captain directed the next arriving engine to proceed to the rear, side Charlie. Battalion Chief 3 arrived on scene and radioed the Ladder 35 captain that he was going to perform a 360 of the structure and before assuming command. Engine 44 proceeded to the rear from the east. Ladder 35 captain gave an update of working fire with heavy smoke. He had a hose line crew inside, that was engine 35, with a search crew, ladder 35, inside with engine 26 searching for extension at the Delta exposure, the computer store. The engine 44, and engine 44 at the rear, side Charlie. At 21:21, dispatch informed command that they were at the 10-minute mark. At 21:22, Battalion 3 again radioed dispatch that he was assuming command. He instructed engine 27 to catch the hydrant east of the parking lot and lay a supply line to engine 35. Engine 27 proceeded from the rear of the structure, side Alpha. At 21:23, the ladder 35 captain instructed engine 27 to catch the hydrant beside the restaurant east of the parking lot and come in. Dispatch radioed that Battalion 3 had assumed command. Note this transmission may not have been heard by everyone on the fire ground. Aerial Platform 32 reported that they were on scene. The ladder 35 captain instructed AP 32 to come in behind engine 26 and set up their AP. Battalion 3 drove from side Charlie to side Alpha to establish a command post. At 21:24 hours, the ladder 35 firefighter 2 radioed that they had found the fire and the fire was in the attic. The firefighter 2 radioed, "Have the motor crew do a right-hand search and bring the nozzle crew back here to us." The ladder 35 captain acknowledged the radio transmission from ladder 35 crew and stated that he had a crew, that is engine 26, checking for fire in the attic, making sure that the fire doesn't get behind them. At 21:25, Battalion 3 radioed to ladder 35 captain and stated that he had command and instructed the captain to join his crew. A face-to-face transfer of command did not take place and no additional information was exchanged at this time. Engine 44 radioed command and reported the fire was through the roof at the rear of the building, and there was a door that they could open and put water on the fire. Battalion 3 instructed engine 44 to go ahead and open the door, but not to put any water on the fire because he didn't want engine 44 to push the fire onto the crews inside the building. At 21:26, the engine 35 lieutenant radioed command and said that there was zero visibility inside the structure, zero ventilation taking place, lots of heat inside the building, and the building has lightweight trusses in the roof. Note that the building construction included a flat metal deck roof supported by lightweight metal bar joists hidden by a drop ceiling. At 21:27, the engine 35 lieutenant again radioed command and repeated there was zero visibility inside the building and the fire was, quote, in the roof where the trusses are, unquote. At 21:27, command acknowledged the transmission from engine 35 and directed the engine 35, engine 26, engine 27, and ladder 35 crews to come outside until ventilation could be started. Command also directed engine 44 to open up the back door so they could see what they had. At 21:28 hours, the ladder 35 firefighter 2 radioed, "Mayday, Mayday." Command directed all companies on the interior to get out now and give a PAR. The ladder 35 firefighter 2 was heard keying up his radio microphone and sounded to be in distress. Over the next few minutes, the ladder 35 firefighter 2 keyed up his radio several times and was heard yelling for someone to break out the windows because he couldn't get out. At 21:29, dispatch sounded an evacuation tone over the radio. Over the next few minutes, command radioed ladder 35 and engine 35, asking their locations and asking for a PAR. Command radioed engine 27 and asked if they could go inside as a RIT and look for the missing ladder 35 firefighter. Note, at this point, it was unknown how many firefighters were missing and who they were. At 21:30 hours, the Engine 27 officer confirmed that they would be writ and look for ladder 35. Battalion 8 had arrived on scene and met face-to-face with command. Battalion 8 was assigned as the writ division chief. He immediately proceeded to the front of the fire building. At 21:32, command radioed Engine 35, Engine 26, and Engine 27 and advised them to report to Battalion 8 for writ assignment. Ladder 35 Firefighter 2 switched to radio channel TAC 3. At 21:33, the missing firefighter Ladder 35 Firefighter 2 keyed up his radio microphone on TAC 3. Over the next few minutes, dispatch records showed that he had keyed up his mic on TAC 3 at least 2 more times. Engine 44 radio command and advised him that the back door to the fire building had been opened and they had heavy smoke with zero visibility inside. Engine 44 also advised command that they had a pre-connected hose line in place outside the door and were awaiting orders. Command replied and directed Engine 44 to open up every door at the back that they could. At 21:34 hours, command radioed for Engine 35 with no answer. Note, at this point, command was directing fireground operations on radio channel TAC 2 and would not have known that Ladder 35 Firefighter 2 had switched over to radio channel TAC 3. Engine 26, the initial writ, radioed command that they had come outside the structure to change their SCBA cylinders. Command acknowledged Engine 26. Battalion 8 radioed command and advised command that he was assuming writ division chief and requested another engine company to back up the writ crews inside. Command advised Battalion 8 that aerial platform 11 crew was on its way to assist with writ operations. At 21:35, Battalion 8 advised command that 2 firefighters from Ladder 35 were trapped inside and their location was unknown at this time. He also reported that conditions inside were starting to get very hot and writ crews were staged on the leeward side of the building to be sheltered from the smoke. Command acknowledged the report from Battalion 8. Note, the winds blowing from the southeast at 17 to 24 miles per hour caused heavy smoke conditions in front of the building. 8 worked over the next few minutes to assemble the Engine 27 crew, Ladder 35 captain as the next writ. Engine 27 radioed, emergency traffic, get an ambulance to the front. We've got 1 man down. We need an ambulance out to the front. A few seconds later, the Ladder 35 captain radioed, we need EMS at the front. We have 1 out. Note, the firefighter pulled out was the Ladder 35 Firefighter 2. At this point, the location of Ladder 35 Firefighter 1 was still unknown. At 21:37, Battalion Chief 3 acknowledged the report and radioed that EMS was headed to the front of the building. RIT command radioed command and reported that Engine 27 brought out 1 firefighter and the 11 crews were being sent in to locate the other missing firefighters. The 11 crews consisted of Heavy Rescue 11 with 2 firefighters, Aerial Platform 11 with a captain, engineer, and 2 firefighters, as well as Engine 11 with a lieutenant, engineer, and 2 firefighters. They all arrived at Side Alpha, where they were assigned as RIT by Battalion 8 and directed to go inside and conduct a right-hand search. Part of the 11 crew members were assigned to search the computer store on Side Delta. The Aerial Platform 11 Firefighter 1 deployed a large area search rope, which was attached to a sign on the sidewalk outside the front door. Aerial Platform 11 Firefighter 1 led the way inside the fire structure, followed by AP-11 captain and engineer. Thick, heavy smoke pushed out the front door, and they immediately encountered very hot conditions. The RIT could only advance about 15 feet inside the structure before they were forced to retreat due to the intense heat. As AP-11 crew backed out, the Engine 11 crew, lieutenant and 2 firefighters, picked up the engine 3/4 hose line at the front door, the hose line from engine 35, and advanced the hose line into the structure. The Engine 11 firefighters worked the nozzle on a fog pattern and reported that there was no water returning as the intense heat was converting all the water to steam, and their thermal imaging screen whited out due to the intense heat. The exercise equipment at the front of the structure made advancing the hose line difficult. Aerial Platform 11 firefighters began breaking out the front windows. Engine 11 and Heavy Rescue 11 entered the structure through the front door. The Aerial Platform 11 Firefighter 1 observed Engine 11 and Rescue 11 firefighters entering the structure, so he followed them inside, thinking the Aerial Platform 11 crew was also going back inside. Still carrying a RIT bag, which continually would get caught on the exercise equipment as he tried to advance, the RIT reported that they did a right-hand search and were able to advance to the rear of the structure where they found a back room that had heavy fire in it. They were able to put water on the fire in the room, but needed another hand line to knock down the fire. Before their search could be completed, their low air alarms began to go off. As RIT backed out, Aerial Platform 11 Firefighter 1 heard the order to back out, but soon became separated from the rest of the RIT. The rest of the RIT was unable to back out to the front door and went outside. The rest of the RIT was able to back out of the front door and went outside to change their air cylinders. The RIT 11 crews exited the structure at approximately 21:54. However, the Aerial Platform 11 firefighter remained inside. At 21:38 hours, Aerial Platform 32 radioed command that fire was venting through the roof. Command radio, do not let anyone else inside the building until we get everyone else out. Platform 32 and ladder 35 put water on the fire. Don't give me a heavy stream. That was all a quote from command. Aerial Platform 32 acknowledged the order. Soon after, Battalion 8 radioed command and asked about the status of the water on the roof. He stated that flames were coming right by the front door. He reported that RIT was inside, 11 crews, and expressed concern that flowing water on the roof would push everything down on the interior firefighters. He also asked about a 360-degree size-up of the building. Command reported that all the back doors had been opened, and Engine 44 had reported heavy smoke and some flames showing out the back. At 21:40 hours, Command radioed Aerial AP-32 and Ladder 35 and directed them to hold off on their master streams. Both companies acknowledged the order from Command. Command also directed AP-32 and Ladder 35 crews to set up and turn on positive pressure ventilation fans at side Alpha to help push the smoke out the back. After the 11 crews came out, Engine 32 was assigned to RIT along with Engine 27. Engine 32 went inside and started the right-hand search. As conditions inside continued to deteriorate, Engine 27 was assigned to do a left-hand search and stay along the side Bravo wall. Note at this point, Command had concerns for the safety of the roof due to the time the fire had been burning and the number of heavy air conditioning units on the roof. Firefighters in the elevated AP-32 reported the roof over the fire structure was beginning to sag. Battalion 8 requested a PAR on all the 11 crews coming outside at approximately 21:56 hours. The Engine 32 crew worked to advance a 2.5-inch pre-connected hose line into the structure. Engine 32 firefighters reported a solid orange glow overhead as they advanced inside and immediately felt intense heat. The AP-11 Firefighter 1, who had become separated from the rest of his crew and had remained inside the structure, ran out of air and attempted to connect his SCBA to the spare air cylinder in the RIT bag. The AP-11 Firefighter 1 had a working radio but never used it when he became separated from the rest of the RIT. The Engine 32 firefighter had a pass device sounding and moved toward the sound of the pass device. They soon found the Aerial Platform 11 firefighter who was down near the center of the structure. 158 Engine 32 radioed that they had found the downed firefighter, and were backing out. The Engine 32 crew assisted Aerial AP-11 Firefighter 1 to the front door. Conditions inside the structure at this time were reported to be zero visibility, intense heat, and fire overhead. Command began making plans to move to a defensive operation and send crews with hose lines into side Bravo exposure to stop the fire from spreading. At approximately 22:02 hours, RIT Command directed Engine 27 crew to back out of the structure. Battalion Chief 4 at the rear of the structure, Charlie side, reported the conditions at the rear were deteriorating with heavy, thick smoke and a large fire volume. At 22:03, AP-32 radioed command and reported a significant increase in flames through the roof, center of side Alpha. At 22:03, command requested a PAR on everybody. The PAR continued for several minutes while AP-32 was directed to resume master stream operations, putting water on the roof. Ladder 35 was also directed to resume operations. At 22:07, RIT Command radioed command and advised him that the firefighter who was just pulled outside was the Aerial Platform 11 and not from Ladder 35. RIT Command advised command that the firefighter was still missing inside and the interior was no longer viable. RIT Command advised that the conditions on side Alpha were rapidly deteriorating and they needed to move apparatus away from the structure due to the fire and intense heat. Command acknowledged but stated that he did not want to give up on the missing firefighter. At 22:08, Engine 35 was directed to begin master stream operations using their deck guns to direct water through the front window openings. At 22:08, dispatch sounded another general evacuation alarm. The AP-11 Firefighter 1 was transported to a local hospital for treatment. At 22:11 hours, AP-32 radioed command to report that the roof had collapsed at the Alpha Bravo corner. Defensive operations continued on side Alpha, Bravo, and Delta. At approximately 22:18 hours, Battalion Chief 1 was assigned to Bravo Command. A double door was located in the wall between the thrift shop and the thrift store storage area, side Bravo exposure to the fire building. Engine 10, Engine 41, Engine 15, and Ladder 41 were assigned to Bravo Command to initiate offensive operations at the double doors and use hose lines to hold the fire in the storage area. At 22:31, crews were still in a defensive mode, 80 minutes into the fire. At this point, the bulk of the fire had been knocked down. Crews continued to work on side Bravo and side Delta to limit the spread of the fire. Crews rotated in and out of rehab, and RIT teams were maintained outside the front at side Alpha. At 23:11, command radioed to all companies on the fire ground that he was ordering all water shut down and all ventilation fans turned off so that a line of firefighters at the front of the structure could listen for the sound of a pass device. At 23:33 hours, firefighters at the front of the structure observed what appeared to be reflective trim on a firefighter's PPE close to the side Bravo wall. Search crews entered the structure and the missing Ladder 35 Firefighter 1 was located near the side Bravo wall, approximately 75 feet from the front door. The Ladder 35 Firefighter 1 was removed from the building and pronounced dead at the scene. He was transported with the fire department escort to the medical examiner's office at approximately 0030 hours. So that concludes the review of the incident itself. Now we're going to look at contributing factors. So this gets into the report that NIOSH put together after this fatality. Occupational injuries and fatalities are often the result of one or more contributing factors or key events in a large sequence of events that ultimately result in the injury or fatality. NIOSH investigators identified the following items as key contributing factors in this incident and ultimately led to this fatality. First of all, they determined that this was an arson fire. There was no sprinkler system in the commercial structure. The high wind conditions, zero visibility and cluttered floor space impeded hose line advancement. Freelancing fire tactics, that is the ladder company searching for fire beyond the protection of the hose streams. Crew integrity was not maintained. Uncoordinated ventilation, that is the rear door opening at side Charlie. NIOSH has listed as cause of death for this firefighter. According to medical examiners, Ladder 35 Firefighter 1 died of conflagration injuries. The measured blood carboxyhemoglobin levels were low, and there were no traumatic injuries reported. In these NIOSH reports, they also give recommendations, and in this particular investigation, they give 19 different recommendations. I'm going to read through all of these. Some I'm just going to read the recommendation and move on to the next one. Others I'll kind of flush them out a little bit and expand on them. Recommendation number 1, fire departments should integrate current fire behavior research findings developed by NIST. And I'm pretty sure you understand what they're referring to here, but it gets into theories about how fires are different today, largely due to new building construction and the composition of home furnishings and products. In the past, these products were mainly composed of natural materials such as wood and cotton. Today's products contain large quantities of petroleum products and synthetic materials that burn faster and hotter and generate larger volumes of fuel-rich smoke. Where a fire in a room once took approximately 20 minutes to flash over, today's furnished rooms reach flashover in as little as 4 to 5 minutes. Modern living spaces tend to be more open, less compartmentalized, and better insulated than homes built years ago. As a result, interior residential fires can generate oxygen-depleted, fuel-rich environments within minutes. This fire condition of hot, fuel-rich smoke, also known as a ventilation-limited fire, is highly reactive to the introduction of oxygen. Opening a door or ventilating a window introduces massive quantities of oxygen to this environment, which promotes explosive and rapid transition to flashover. These same conditions can also occur in commercial structures. Recommendation number 2, state, local, and municipal governments, building owners, and authorities having jurisdiction should consider requiring the use of sprinkler systems in commercial structures. So for us, our Chisholm Trail Outlet Mall is sprinklered. As far as I know, it's sprinklered throughout the whole building. I guess I don't know that for sure. I assumed it was. Our FTC is on the northwest corner of the complex. I guess that's a good tactical consideration for us while we're doing this training is if we have a working structure fire in that outlet mall, are we going to send a truck to support the sprinkler system by going and hooking into that FTC? So that's something we can talk about. All right, recommendation number 3 is really long, so I'm just going to paraphrase it here a little bit. Incident commanders should base the strategies and tactics on the community risk assessment, building occupancy, pre-incident planning, critical building information system, staffing, and available resources. And reading through all the notes here, what they're really talking about is treating this as a high-risk, low-frequency event. And I know other guys have talked about it, but we need to do more training on high-risk, low-frequency events, which is actually exactly what we're doing here, reviewing this line of duty death. But I think it would also help if we're getting out and doing pre-fire tours of the taxpayers in our district and getting a handle on these buildings before the fire. Recommendation number 4, fire departments should develop and implement standing operating procedures, training programs, and tactics for wind-driven fires. And, you know, there's classes out there, the entire class is over wind-driven fires, so this really is a big deal. Experienced fire officers and firefighters who have survived wind-driven fires have all described the following. Upon arrival, conditions appeared to be routine. Within seconds, fire, heat, and smoke conditions changed without warning from routine to life-threatening. An operating 2.5-inch line flowing from the downwind position or into the exhaust portion of the flow had little or no effect on the incredible heat being produced. Flowing water into the intake or inlet side, wind at your back, of the flow path is very effective. Directly attacking these fires with 1 or even 2 2.5-inch hose lines provides proved ineffective and ultimately led to firefighters incurring serious injuries. NIST, in a recent study on wind-driven fires and structures, has shown that wind speeds as low as 10 miles per hour can turn a routine room and contents fire into a floor-to-ceiling firestorm or blowtorch effect, generating untenable conditions for firefighters even outside of the room of origin. Temperatures in excess of 1,100 degrees were measured at 4 feet above the floor along the flow path between the fire room and the downwind exit vent. These conditions were attained within 30 seconds of the flow path being formed by an open vent on the upwind side of the structure and an open vent on the downwind side of the structure. Whenever possible, fire departments should consider attacking a wind-driven fire from the upwind side of the building. Firefighters should enter the structure with the wind at their back, making sure that firefighters do not get on the downwind side of the fire and avoid potential flow paths. Recommendation number 5, fire departments should ensure all fire ground ventilation is coordinated with firefighting operations. Number 6, fire departments should ensure that rapid intervention crews or rapid intervention teams resources are dedicated, assigned, and in place before interior firefighting operations begin and throughout an incident so that they can immediately respond to emergency situations. Number 7, fire departments should train firefighters on the principles of situational awareness. To properly train personnel to maintain situational awareness on the fire ground or at an emergency incident, a fire department has to develop and utilize effective scenario-based training. Training firefighters to maintain situational awareness on the fire ground needs to include building construction, fire behavior, fire ground tactics and strategies, ventilation, and other fire ground operations. This is a continuous process that is initiated in recruit school and continues throughout a firefighter's entire fire service career. Recommendation number 8, fire departments should ensure that crew integrity is properly maintained by visual, direct, so visual eye to eye, direct by touch, or verbal, voice or radio, contact at all times when operating in an ideal H atmosphere. The 9th recommendation that they gave, fire departments should ensure that an initial risk assessment is performed and continuous risk assessment is accomplished throughout the incident and the strategy and tactics match the conditions encountered. Activities that present A significant risk to the safety of firefighters should be limited to situations that have the potential to save endangered lives, basically. Activities that are routinely employed to protect property should be recognized as inherent risks to the safety of firefighters, and the action should be taken to reduce or avoid these risks. No risk to the safety of firefighters should be acceptable where there is no possibility to save lives or property. Full range of factors must be considered in making the risk evaluation, including the following. Is there a presence of occupants in the building? A realistic evaluation of occupant survivability and rescue potential. Size, construction, and use of the building. Age and condition of the building. Nature and value of building contents. Location and extent of the fire within the building. Adjacent exposures. Fire involvement or compromise of building structural components. Is this a residential or commercial structure? Were there delays? Do we have a delayed discovery or reporting and its effect on the fire burn time and structural stability? Considerations of fire loading and fire behavior. And finally, a realistic evaluation of the ability to execute a successful offensive fire attack with the resources that are available. Number 10, fire departments should ensure critical benchmarks are communicated to incident command on a regular basis. 11, fire departments should consider periodic training on the transfer of command. Number 12, fire departments should conduct pre-incident planning inspections of buildings within their jurisdiction to facilitate development of safe fire ground strategies and tactics. 13, fire departments should ensure that Mayday training programs are developed and implemented so that firefighters are adequately prepared to call a Mayday. 14, fire departments should provide all firefighters with radios and train them on their proper use. Number 15, fire departments should ensure that firefighters are trained to understand the influence of building design and construction on fire behavior and growth and the needed tactics for safe firefighting operations. 16, fire departments should ensure that firefighters are trained and proficient on following hose lines outside as a means of egress and self-rescue. So to me, that brings to mind smooth lug if you're following the hose line. If you don't know what I mean by smooth lug, perhaps that's a good, that'd be a good 50-50 drill to participate in. Recommendation number 17, fire departments should ensure that firefighters are trained to report search findings as soon as the search is completed. And if the search team does not have the protection of a hose line, immediately exit to a safe area. 18, fire departments should train and empower all firefighters to report unsafe conditions to incident command. And 19, fire departments should consider using search lines when conducting primary and secondary searches in large or smoke-filled areas. Okay, that concludes the review of this NIOSH line of duty death fatality investigation report. This was part of the 50-50 firefighter training challenge that we put out here in August. If any of these recommendations that NIOSH put out as part of this investigation piques your interest and you'd like to put together some training over that topic, please let me know. I bet you it'd likely be a lot easier than you think to put the training out, and I'm sure it would prove to be invaluable for the safety of our members. So please let me know.